Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast.
This pig came bottling.
Just ended up puking last night. It sucked.
Whoa! Ah!
We gut it, we wrap it in tinfoil, throw it over the fire.
All right, guys. That's the intro to the TBLO podcast 95. Trying to get Redneck Tech up here and trying to figure out technology. We'll see. It's the first time having the intro play before the podcast and not doing it in post. So that seemed to go all right. It skipped a little bit there at the beginning, but yeah, well, it's getting we're learning here. We're adapting. But anyway, we have a special guest on today. Nate, as you guys would have seen, Nate was on the podcast 93 and 94, and you guys are probably tired of seeing our ugly mugs. So we decided to bring David in here, have him kind of talk about his hunting and law enforcement experience. Yeah, super excited. We met David. I know we met you at the Deer and Beer Show for sure this last year, but have we met at a show before that at all?
No, that's the first one I've been to. So
okay, that's what I didn't know. Luckily, we've done enough shows now where we've had a couple other law enforcement guys come up to us and talk to us, and I'm like, I think I've met you, or maybe I haven't met you, and I just always forget sometimes. So David, before you kind of introduce yourself and your hunting background and your law enforcement background, it's up to you. I know you're retired now, but it's up to you on if you want to name the agency or not. I just kind of leave it up to each individual. So that's totally up to you. But other than that, David, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us about your law enforcement background and hunting background.
Oh, sure thing. But hey, guys, before we get started, let's give a shout out to the brothers and sisters that are dealing with the hurricanes right now. I know last week they got hit down there, down south, and they're getting ready to get hit in Florida right now. And just prayers and thoughts goes out to those guys and girls down there. They're doing the job down there, so they got to do it. Anyway, Dave Quinn. I am from Bloomington, Illinois. Born and raised here on the west side. I always tell a story that I used to run from the Bloomington police when I was a kid.
Hey, that sounds like somebody else said that.
That's pretty familiar.
Before I joined them. But my career started in 1990. How old are you guys?
30.
I am 30, about to turn 31 in a couple of days. I was born in 93.
93, yeah. So my career started with McLean County Sheriff's Department in 1990. And my voice gets a little cracky. I got this stupid head cold that's just kicking my ass. But,
I had that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You had it for like a month.
And so my career started in the jail, actually. I did 5 years in lockup and then was chosen to become a deputy. I did 6 years as a deputy. And back in the mid-90s, we had an influx of gangs. I was a gang officer inside the facility. And once I became a deputy, we actually hosted a true gang team. And all we did was go out and identify gang members. So there was 10 of us on the team. Myself from the Sheriff's Department, we had 5 Bloomington guys, 4 or 5 normal guys, and a couple sergeants running around. And all we did was go out. They called us the Jump Out Boys. So all we did was go out. We'd, take these guys' pictures, and we'd ask them if they were gang members. And a lot of them would tell us they were a gangster disciple or Vice Lord or Mickey Cobra or whatever they decided. And we would do a gang card on them. I'm not sure if you guys are still doing gang cards or not, but most of the people you talk to now.
Most of the people you talk to now. Seen them, but that's about it. Yeah.
Well, you're doing traffic stop profile cards and all that kind of stuff too. So that basically took over the gang card, but without the questions about being a gang member. And so we registered a bunch of those guys. In 01, I transferred to the lateral transfer to the city of Bloomington, where I spent the next 19 years. So I got 30 years total in law enforcement.
Wow.
I was a road dog, a road dog. So I was on the road the whole time. I mean, I took the sergeant's test. I don't know how I got on the list, but I didn't want to sit behind the desk.
My man. That's how it sounds right there.
Yeah, so I didn't want to supervise guys like me, so
It's like I'm looking into the future right now.
I got some stories. I got 30 years of stories. to tell you guys. So, yeah, that was my career. I mean, I ended up the last 8 or 9 years, they assigned or allowed me to go on the interstate a lot because Bloomington has the 55 and 74 and 39 and 51. All these interstates come in here. We got some big truck stops. We did a lot of Valkyrie, a lot of, we weren't just looking for drugs and guns. We were doing human trafficking cases and getting all those guys off the street too. So, yeah, the last 8 years, I mean, that's what they did. They gave me a canine and his officer and his dog and another guy for backup, and we just ran the interstates a couple times a week. Plus, we were handling calls too. So, 30 years, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I was telling one of the guys today, I'd go back and do it again, but we're gonna let you younger guys do it.
Yeah. So, what year did you retire?
2020. So I retired March 13th, 2020.
That was perfect timing, sir.
2 days before lockdown. So my goal was to have the house to myself, but that didn't happen. Wife's home, kids are here. Just me and the animals is what I wanted. But we got through it. We got through it. So,
dude, I would say I'm envious for you. That 2020 was such a weird year for us. Just dealing with all the mask mandates and and then we're getting Walmart's calling us like, this person refuses to wear a mask in our store. We want you to arrest them. But, no, we're not arrested. You can kick them out 100%.
Yeah,
we'll escort them out if you want, but we're not placing them in handcuffs because they won't put a damn mask on. Like we're not doing
crazy.
That.
What was even weirder with 2020 was like that was when we really started to like explore the brand and try and make it grow. So not only did we have COVID, not only did we have everything else going on, but now we're trying to get this brand up and running. And so it was just
I started the YouTube page. I started the YouTube page in January of 2020, but I wasn't really advertising it. March 1st of 2020, I started the Facebook page and really pushed out our first videos. And everybody knows what happened during that year. Yeah, yep.
That's crazy. Well, I teach up in Heartland, the traffic schools up there for 4-hour traffic school.
Been there a time or two.
And so, I mean, I was teaching the 4-hour, 8-hour class up there. People get a ticket, they come to the school for 4 hours. But everybody had a mask on, and I'm pretty much deaf anyway. Too many rock concerts and shooting guns as a kid without ear protection, you lose your hearing. And so I couldn't tell. I read lips, so I couldn't tell who was talking to me. I'm looking at the entire class. I could tell it was a male or female, but it was. We had to get through that.
Yep.
I just had to tell him, you got to speak up, yo.
Yep. So. Nope, I get that. Well, obviously now that we got your law enforcement background a little bit, how long you been hunting, and what's your go-to species, I should say? Well,
I just got back from Colorado.
Yeah,
We'll get into that story here pretty quick. But, I started out pheasant and rabbit hunting as a kid. We used to put our shotguns in the trunk and get out of school and then go knock on doors and see if we can run a fence row. That's what we did back in the day. So I started rabbit and pheasant hunting. I got into duck hunting after a while. I was 13 when I won my first duck calling contest, Ducks Unlimited contest. I was up against this old crotchety dude. He was pissed off that this 13-year-old kid was up on stage with him, And so I started blowing, and the crowd gave me the prize, which was cool. And then I got into deer hunting, mostly archery, but I did do some shotgun hunting. And I'd take a break for a little while, raise the kids and that sort of thing. When the boys got old enough, I remember my oldest son was in Colorado with me this year. And I remember having him on my back, holding on around my neck, and I was using the climber to get up the tree. And we never used, back in those days, we never used safety harness or anything. We just climbed up in the tree and sat there. So they're big. My kids are big hunters and all that now. So I'm kind of jealous of my second son. He's got some property that he's got a buddy of his got a bunch of property, and they got some monster deer on their property.
Now, did they go into law enforcement at all, or do they stay out of it and do something else?
No, they stayed out of law enforcement. My oldest son's building he owns a cell tower company, and he's building a tower line from Aurora, Illinois, up to Helena, Montana. So
Okay.
he's spending some time in the mountains out there in Montana.
Is he
getting this
scouting
thing
for you?
ready. Yes, he's looking, trying to find a
Yep.
place now that over-the-counter tax is no longer going to be available in Colorado. We got to find somewhere else. I mean, we can probably get drawn out for the areas that we do hunt out there in Colorado, but we'll see about January when we try to figure out where we're going to go.
Mm-hmm. We'll definitely have to talk about that elk hunt here in a little bit.
So my second son,
go ahead.
My second son, he's in financial. So if you guys need any financial help, I'll give you a business card. You can hook up with him, and
he needs all the help he can get.
I need everything. So.
Yeah, they're currently buying a $200 litter box. He needs help. So
that's crazy.
No, it's not $200. Whoa.
That's not what I was told yesterday.
No. The first actual price of the litter box was like $200. Not every litter box after that's $200. It's like $30.
Whatever happened to, I got 2 cats myself. They're inside outside dudes. And just put a pan in the basement with litter.
I refuse for my house to smell like cat piss and all that.
It doesn't.
The only agreement I made with the wife.
You gotta clean that shit out once in a while.
No, the only agreement I made with the wife is we get the automatic one and that's it.
My cat was an outside cat. Unfortunately, we're having some coyote issues, and I haven't seen my cat in a week. So I have a feeling I know what happened. So
we saw the coyote. Yep. So we went out. We had a deer camp for 2 days. Not a whole lot of deer, but it was a good camp. And we saw the coyote about 180 yards out. We were trying to. Our buddy Ryan that I was hunting with, he actually ended up getting it to come about 80 to 100 yards, and we were real tempted just to fling an arrow at it just to see if we get a shot at it.
They're out there. I mean, I live in town here in Bloomington, and we got coyotes that come through our yard.
Mm-hmm. Did your car just die?
Nah.
Okay, I was gonna laugh if you run that battery dead.
Yeah, we're good.
No, well, let's just. I'm excited to hear about this elk hunt. Let's just get.
Oh man! So, a couple of years ago, I was geared up to race Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii in 2020. Didn't happen. 2021 didn't happen. So prior to 2020, I was physically fit to race out there. They canceled it probably. I think it was maybe June or July. I think they canceled the race. And so I was just online. I saw this guy was posting. I always wanted to go elk hunting. And so this guy was posting I call him a buddy of mine, that he needed somebody to go with him because his partner got hurt at work. And so I, of course, did my background checks on the guy. And we hooked up, and I picked him up in Kansas City, Missouri at the airport. He drove up. He lives down south a little ways. And he jumped in the back of my truck, all this stuff, and we went out. He's killed a couple bulls before. We just went out there. We were in the south end of the state, which is not over the counter this past 2 years. So we went out there. We got set up on camp, and the next day we just went straight up the mountain. And for an Illinois boy, man, it is tough out there.
I would agree.
Even the good shape, the best shape that I was in, but being at elevation, we're 300 here, and we were sleeping at 9,800 out there. So
I think Cody puked last time he went.
I did. Yeah. Last time I went up there, I ended up puking.
So we actually saw. I was raking a tree one day. This is like the second day we were there, and he had his bow. I didn't have a tag yet. I was going to let him kill one, and then I would go back to town and get my tag. But I raked. He was calling. I raked in this little 5x5. Well, I wouldn't say little. It was elk are freaking huge. Huge. And you won't believe the difference. I mean, you can watch the YouTube videos all day long and to hear them bugle and stuff like that. But to have one bugle, 300 yards away, 200 yards away, all the way up to like this year, it was. We'll get into that one in a minute. But there's some music going on. I can hear it.
Yeah, no. You jamming?
I'm trying to get the car turned off. This is not good.
I get
there we go. We're good.
There you go. Okay.
So yeah, I spent a week out there with Patrick, and we didn't come up with anything. We saw a lot of sign. Figured out that particular area pretty well. The following year, 21, 22. I went out by myself. I went solo, and I spent 12 days on the side of the mountain. I went out blind because they didn't know over the counter tags where Patrick and I went. So I just found a couple different areas, scouted them out. He scouted them, and I went straight down the road to where it was at. And on the way in that day, two guys from Ohio were coming out, and they were camping down the way from me. I asked, "Is that campground open? That you can see on X?" He said, "Yeah, the guy that was in there just left yesterday." So I had this perfect campground. It's right at the trailhead. And I didn't see but two people on the mountain that year.
Lucky.
I saw some elk. I had elk. I put a camera up. Well, one of the Ohio guys come down to the trailhead like the day after I got there. And I flashed my flashlight. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I was, man, I don't know my way around out here. You mind if I follow you up the mountain? He said, yeah, I'm going to stay up to about 10 and we got to buck out to go back to Ohio. So I followed this guy up the mountain. This guy was Grizzly Adams. He's probably 280 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm in really good shape again because they canceled Kona. And I followed him up the mountain. He was doing 100-yard surges on this mountain. He'd go 100 yards and he'd rest for like 20 seconds. His heart rate would come down and his breathing would come down. And right up the mountain he would go. And so he showed me this wallow up on the side about 98, about 10-2. And that's where I put my camera. I put a camera up there. And I went up there every single day except for Thursday. Thursday on the camera was a 5x5. And I mean, I don't know how to just send you guys pictures on this particular thing, but maybe we can attach them later on. But I got a 5x5 on camera the only day that I was not at that particular spot.
Go figure.
I heard them just a couple of times out there that year, but I didn't get a shot. I just had a great experience out there, getting my camping set up and make sure I got everything. I actually took a 4-wheeler out, pulled it on the trailer. In that particular area, I don't need a 4-wheeler because you can't get around on a 4-wheeler. It's just too rocky and climbing and there's downfalls all over the place. So this year, I went back to the same area. I left on a Tuesday and drove straight through. Got there Wednesday morning, right before 5 o'clock. I mean, I stopped and took a couple cat naps, but I can't sleep in a truck. I can sleep good when I'm driving, but I can't sleep while I'm sitting still. So I just pulled over, slept for a little bit, and get back on the road. But I got there a little before 5. Gas station doesn't open till 5, and I'm 90 minutes from the gas station. So I stopped and got ice, a cup of coffee, and I just drove up in the mountains that way. Then I got up there. My campground was open still, which was good. So there was just 2 trucks there when I first pulled in there. And so I just pulled past them and set up camp. And then after I got camp set up, I went straight up the mountain to the wallow, set up my camera. I sat there for a little bit, and then I came back down to finish setting up everything and to take a nap because I was freaking tired. But the first climb going up, I mean, it's a different world trying to catch your breath and get your legs. I mean, I worked out all spring and summer to get in good shape because we live in the only sledding hill in Bloomington. That's our backyard. So I put the pack on in the morning, take the dog over to the hill, and just do hill repeats back and forth.
Old Jersey Hill?
Jersey Hill. That's my backyard. Old Jersey Hill.
I know exactly what you're talking about. My grandma, she used to live right over by that area, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
So that's what I did to get in shape. A lot of guys go out there that don't even train. And they might not put on. I mean, my longest day this year was about 12 miles. For the most part, I was doing 7-8 miles a day. Totally different hunting styles. Mostly stalking. I do sit at the ground. I got a ground blind up there on that wallow. I sit there till the thermals start to change, or right before the thermals start to change. Then I'll go up above, try to get above the elk.
Yep.
And so, I think it was the third day that I was there. I met a local guy, and he was showing this other guy around. Actually, they came walking up the wallow. I called them in actually, and I said the other guy was getting ready. He was from St. Louis. He's getting ready to leave the next day, and so I took the local guy's number, and I got with him the day before I left, and he took me out a couple of different times, and so the next day after I met those guys, did the same thing. Went to the wallow, sat there with thermals changed. I went straight up, and for some reason, the only days they bugled this year were Thursdays and Fridays. Don't know.
Weird.
Don't know how to get the elk memo. Only bugle on Thursdays and Fridays, but that's what they did this year. So this was a Thursday, and I get up there, and this one's bugling, and he's coming in. He's probably, when I first started talking to him, he was probably about 100 yards away. I got him to about 50. I still couldn't see him, but he was about 50 yards. And like I said, hearing a bugle in the wild is totally different than hearing it on YouTube. So I couldn't get him to come in any closer. I was going to try to cut the distance, but I was standing by the spruce tree. I was like, I'm going to give 2 more cow calls. If that don't work, I'm going to try to cut the distance. I gave 2 cow calls, and to my left at 18 yards was a freaking monster 6x6 bull. And he whirled. I mean, he came in silent. He whirled and went out to 40 yards and he gave me an ass shot. I was at full draw at 40 yards. I wasn't going to take that shot. He kind of just stumbled out to 70 yards because he got spooked because he didn't see the cow. You know, he heard the cow call. I mean, I could have spit on the daggone thing. That's how close he was. And so, that was my one and only chance this year was that one. If I would not have cow called, he would have walked 10 yards in front of me.
Yep.
And that was a big bull.
Yeah. Colorado hunting's tough, man, or elk hunting in general, but I've been to the public land Colorado route twice now, and closest opportunity we had, we got a cow elk within 70 yards, and we just couldn't get her closer. And we were going to shoot her if we could. We had either sex tag, and it's tough, but like I said, it's by far the hardest hunt I've ever done. But I want to go back. Like, I'm addicted to it now. It's awesome.
It's definitely an addiction. You know, I'll start watching elk videos around January to see what's out there. And it's just an addiction. It's like whitetail hunting around here, you know? So, well, you guys are doing all your filming and stuff, filming your hunts?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yep. We actually, spoiler alert for people who, I guess the videos should be out before this podcast comes out. But either way, we had 3 team members score tonight. We had 2 does get down
and a monster.
We had a big buck get down. Now, unfortunately, he didn't get the shot on film on the big one, but he's one of our newest team members, and he's still trying to learn how to edit. And I was actually impressed. He killed a doe a couple of weeks ago, and he did a really good job on it. But I'm sure he was a little nervous when this guy came in and see the best way I could show this picture.
Oh, whoa, that's a good one. What county was that?
I don't even know. So he's a new deputy, and he's a new team member. He's a deputy, and I know he doesn't hunt in the same county he works. He's up in northeast Illinois along the Indiana border.
Oh, okay.
We're northwest. Sorry, northwest. No, I was right, northeast. But he, I don't know exactly what county he's in because I know I had him on the podcast. It's Brock for everybody who might be listening. Who has listened to that podcast. It was like 10 podcasts ago or something like that. And I know he's got 2 different farms, maybe even 3, and they're in different counties. So I'm not for sure which county he was in. That's
definitely a shooter.
Yeah. So I think he's got all the other, like the, pre-hunt interview, the tracking job and all that on camera. So we'll have a video out about that. Another team member who hunts here in Fulton County, he got his doe on camera. He did a really good job on it. I already saw the footage of that. And then my brother, and this, I hope he listens to this so I can get him a little bit. he got married last week during hunting season, which I've been giving him shit about. And then I bought him a camera so he could start videotaping. And so he went out today and hasn't got the camera out of the box. And sure enough, he shot a doe tonight and didn't have it on camera. So, but yeah, it is what it is. It's self-filming is it's difficult.
It's
but
tough.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's Nate got his first deer on camera, so that's what I like about this. Was last year, but what I like about that is Nate as an adult hunter, now he will always be able to relive his first hunt. He doesn't just have a story. He's got the whole thing on video and how it went down. I love the self-filming aspect. Or even here this last couple of days, we were actually filming each other. No deer, but we were filming each other.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dave, how long would you say you've been doing self-film? Because clearly, when you were younger, you didn't film yourself hunting or anything like that. When did you start getting into self-filming and stuff like that?
I've had some. I don't have any good cameras. Right now, I'm just using my cell phone. I got rid of. I had some knockoff GoPros that I was filming with, but my son actually the year I shot that 172 and 5/8 down in on Public, just south of me here. My son was in a tree with me that day and got it on camera, and so
there you go.
And I can't remember what kind of camera he had, but he hadn't shot his doe yet. So back in the day, down at Clinton, you had to shoot a doe before you could shoot a buck.
Oh, exactly where you're at. Yep.
And I had shot a doe like October 7th, and this was just a little bit a month after. November 8th is when I shot this big one. And so he didn't have. I would have let him shoot it because it came right in at us, but he didn't have a doe. So you got to go by the rules.
Nope. And I don't know what the rules are now down there, but the new site manager down there. I forget if it's not TJ. It'd be Tristan Riley. He just took it over, I think, last year. But we duck hunt and stuff with them up here. They're originally from Fulton County. So, but yeah, shout out to him. But no, I film. This is my main camera. I just happen to have it in front of me right now. So this is it's the Canon XA40.
Okay.
It's what I use. Obviously, and then I put a GoPro on top. And then I got a couple other GoPros and stuff. I know Nate's got the GoPro 9. Some people prefer the GoPros. Like Nate, he started out with my backup GoPro, so he got used to it. So that's what I got him. But then my buddy Ryan, the red coat, he's always ran GoPro. But myself and Kyle, we actually prefer the DJI's Osmo Actions. We think they do better. But again, it's all what you're comfortable with and familiar with. They both do a good job. So.
It's tough to self-film. Trying to get the shot on camera, trying to move everything around and be quiet and not to be seen. It's definitely an art for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
I think it's harder when you've hunted for so long, you've done things a certain way for so long, and you're not used to doing the camera and stuff like that. But someone like me that's only been hunting for 5 years now, I started out self-filming and hunting at the same time. So now I think it's easier for me to self-film because I'm used to doing it that way. That's the way I've always been doing it. Versus someone that has 20 plus years of experience hunting, now they're starting to self-film. I can see how that's way out of their comfort zone environment.
Yeah, 2 years ago I was self-filming and I just had my phone on a little thing that's on my stabilizer. And first deer I've ever lost in my life was this buck, and it was a decent buck. Again, down in Clinton, and I got contacted the landowner where the buck had ran. I'd followed blood for a while, and it was just a bad hit. But we brought the dog out there, did everything we could never find it. Luckily, the deer survived. And the guy that owns the land, his nephew shot it last year.
Okay.
I'll have to send you a picture.
Yeah.
I'll send you a picture of the one I shot the one I shot him, and then I'll send you a picture of what he actually turned out to be when he was harvested.
Gotcha. I'm assuming bigger.
Yeah. He gained probably 12 inches.
Really? That's nice though. At least when the story like closes, like you know how it ended.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. I always hate it when whether it's me or a team member, and like you shot a deer, you didn't find it, and then you just never know how it ended. I found out I was chasing a big one here, and I'll be open about it now because I know he's dead. But we had around a 200 incher running around my farm. This is before the brand, so it had to be 6-7 years ago.
Right.
And he was on camera in daylight, and I was trying to hunt him, trying to find him, never could get on him. And anyway, he just disappeared. Never know what happened. Didn't get any more pictures of him. I found out the year after he actually went down. He was a little smaller, but he scored 193. So yeah, so who knows what he was with the year I saw him. I know everybody I did show it to, which I didn't show very many people that until I found out he was dead. Everybody was guessing north of 200, but never caught up with him. So this is what it is.
So how far did he travel when he got harvested? Was it close to your farm?
Two properties over to the north. So if I had to guess miles wise, maybe two. I'd guess
okay.
2 or 3. Yeah. So not
So he
terrible.
was still in the general area. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And it's a ridge system. You could, if you look on the topo map, the ridge, my farm's part of this ridge system, and he must have been just going north and south along this ridge. Because when I would get photos of him, I would get photos of him for 3 to 5 days, and then he would disappear.
Right.
And then when I knew, so I always knew once I got one photo of him, I only got 3 or 5 days to hunt him, and then again just never caught up with him.
Yeah.
So I just know he was running that whole system.
So are you guys running cell cams down there?
I am. Yep. I got. I use. There's no affiliation or anything, but I use the stealth cameras. It's what I started out with, and I just never changed. I know some of my team members have the Moultrie, and they really like them, and then a couple guys got the Tacticams.
Yeah, I've been running Moultrie for the last couple of years.
Do you like them?
A real defeated feeling. Was it yesterday? We went out to a property and pulled the SD card, and we were looking through the photos, and September 26th, September 27th, you got pretty good does on there. Decent buck was on there. And then there was silence till like the 9th when we went, or the 8th when we went out yesterday. There was nothing on the camera. And that was like one of our really good honey hole spots, was like where they always go, where we've gotten multiple kills out of there, and then just nothing. We were like, what happened?
Yeah, definitely shut up. But it's starting to pick up now a little bit.
Well, I'm seeing a lot more people on my camera too, since I got a few down there on public. I mean, guys just walking around with the crossbow,
Yep.
I don't get it. And I got my stuff way back.
Yeah.
The people still find it. So evidently I'm in the right spot.
Yeah, no kidding. My brother that I was telling you about, he lives in Iowa, so he's hunting public land in Iowa, and he killed one opening night, but he was all he's going to jump on the podcast to tell it sometime, the story, but he was all mad one night. Well, the last hour, prime time, here comes a guy walking right through the bedding area. That's what he's real mad. Like, he goes, I expect the deer to come from here. And here comes this guy walking right through it. And he, the guy gets within like 50 yards. My brother's raising his hands like, hey, what are you doing? The guy ends up, oh, my bad, and leaves. Sure enough, though, like 30 minutes later, here comes does from that spot. So it ended up working out still. But yeah, he was all pissed off there at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, public, I don't have a lot of experience. I've been very fortunate. I've always had access to private land, but the little bit of public land hunting I have done, I used to go to Jim Edgar State Park.
Oh yeah.
Do public land hunting there. And it's
kind of hard to find a tree without a tree stand there.
Yes. Yes, it is.
That's a good thing about Clinton. You can't leave your tree stands in. You got to take them out every single day.
Yep. And don't they have some like permanent spots or something like that too? You could like bid for.
Yeah, there's some ground blinds and stuff like that they got down there for handicap access or people that don't have deer stands.
Yeah,
I've found a spot down there that's close to where those blinds are, and I had a camera up, and there were some pretty good deer coming through there. And I come out one day, I just heard this big commotion, like what the heck's going on in the parking lot? There was 4 vanfuls of people. They had to be out of Chicago. and they were talking a different language that I had never heard before.
Yeah.
And two of them came over to me and asked me where I was hunting at back there. So I was back in that far back blind, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
But yeah, trying to figure out. I mean, they all geared up in probably, $3,000 camos and.
Yep. Yep. So I guess since you're doing a lot of portable hunting, what's your go-to portable setup?
Right now, I have the Latitude sticks,
Okay.
and then I've got a Hawk hang on. It's
Hang
pretty
on.
light.
Okay.
It's like
Mhm.
I haven't gone the saddle route yet. I've thought about it. I'm a pretty
It's
agile
nice.
guy.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't pull the trigger,
Yep. Yep.
but yeah, I'll carry 12 pounds in on my back and some
Mhm.
sticks, and I'll get up pretty high with those sticks. I got a couple cheaters too, some eighters.
Yep.
Gets me up fairly decent. So.
I've used those sticks one time, so that's what my brother I was telling you about. That's what he has is the Latitude sticks,
Yeah.
and he was hunting back home there for a while, and he keeps all his stuff in my shop when he hunts here, and he wasn't going out one night, and I was, and where I was going to be saddle hunting. He's like, "Take my sticks, try them out," and they are nice. They
are. They're
yep.
easy. They're quiet.
Mhm.
I even tape mine up to make them even more quieter than they are.
Mhm.
They were supposed to come out with a carbon fiber tree stand, and this
Oh,
was
okay.
2
I
years
didn't know that.
ago. And they had the
Okay.
prototype up on their website and everything. So I contacted the guys, like, I could be one of the guys that test it out for if you want me to.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the guy says, no, we're trying to go through the process of maybe doing that eventually, but then
Yep.
it just kind of dissipated. I'm not sure if
Huh.
the patent didn't work out or whatever
Yeah.
happened to it, but it
Yeah.
was supposed to be like 8 or 9 pounds.
That ain't bad. Ain't bad at
No.
all. Yeah, no, I will say, like, so a couple of our team members got the Lone Wolf Alphas and they got the Noviks, and they're all I've hunted with pretty much everybody that's got those, and they're all nice, but I really like my saddles. I got the tethered Mantis, which they don't even make anymore. Now it's the Menace. And then I have the tethered Phantom, and then I recently, a couple years ago, I went with Cruiser XC. I think it's the Cruiser XC. Either way, I really like my saddles. The Cruiser is what I'm running right now, but I really like the tether too. I honestly, my recommendation with anybody saddle hunting, I don't think you could go wrong with either company. My brother's got the Latitude saddle, and he really likes it. I haven't got to use that yet, but I know he really likes it, and he was borrowing one of my tethers for a long time before he went and bought it, so he's got experience with both brands too. But what I like about saddle, what's good for me, is because a lot of times I will go film people. A lot of people got their ladder stand set up or whatever they got for the property. I can show up in my saddle and we can make any set a double man set within a couple minutes. That's what's nice is I don't, I climb up first. I can like stand on your seat, set the platform wherever I need to, jump in, boom, we got a cameraman set. So makes it super easy to go film people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
good
deal. So obviously, no, we talked to you at the Bloomington show. One thing that we're big about is getting first responders in general, especially law enforcement, but first responders in general into law enforcement. I'm sure.
Into the woods.
Yep. Oh yeah, my bad. In the woods, not in law enforcement. Into the woods, hunting and fish. Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure you probably saw it too. It does seem like a lot of hunters or a lot of cops are hunters naturally, and a lot of times if they're not hunting, like Nate, they're interested in it. They just never had anybody show them. It's just I don't know if it's the personality, the career tracks, or whatever. I guess I guess what I'm asking you to say is, how did maybe the outdoor lifestyle help you throughout your law enforcement career? And then do you have any recommendations for young rookies, whether they're in law enforcement or definitely first responder field, about getting into the outdoors?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of sport you do. I got into triathlon. You got to have a release when you're doing first responder stuff, cops, firemen, nurses, doctors, people that see all the crap in this world, have to deal with the evil. I mean, humans are not supposed to be able to see that kind of stuff every single day, day in and day out. So you got to have some sort of release. My first release, I mean, I was hunting. I've been hunting all my life. I didn't use hunting as a release, but if that's what's the guys want or the girls want, then yeah, get in the woods, and go kill something. That's a release to get your mind off what you're doing on the day-to-day basis. So mine was just triathlon to start with. I needed to exert that energy, and I had to have that release for sure to make my day go better. It makes my family life a little bit better too.
Yep.
I mean, you just can't hold that stuff inside of you. Prior to me retiring, they sent me to a week-long peer support group training up in Detroit, Michigan, me and a couple other guys.
Yep.
And went up there for a week and came back all educated up. And they were supposed to start counseling the guys that we were, that we work with that are having problems. It's also debriefing. I mean, I saw some shit back in the day that we never debriefed nothing. You were supposed to take it home and suck it up, buttercup, but these days, I don't know, maybe it's better that way that, you come back and you do a debrief in the department, at least one or, within 48 hours of the critical incident. And I've seen a lot of departments are actually going that way. I was talking to a couple of Bloomington guys today and asked them specific questions about that. And yeah, they've got their mental health days and they got, counselors and everything. Those guys they got to go talk to. So I think departments are, I don't know about the smaller departments where you guys are at, but I'm sure that would be a great policy for you guys to get in, is to have that peer support and have that release for the guys that, you come in off a fatal crash or something like that. I mean, what'd you see? Well, this is what I saw. Just debrief that way just helps things out. Heck, I saw a fatal motorcycle accident here in Normal a few months ago, and I was the first one there. I mean, I saw the crash, and I took about 10 seconds to get to the guy, but he was already DRT. So, would that bring me back? I mean, I had some nightmares after a couple of days after that, but then it went away.
Yep.
I know, like Cody and myself, we've each separately have had debriefs and stuff like that for critical incidences. And
I think we've only had one together, I think.
Yeah, one together, and then we've had one separate each. So it is, even in a department of only 24 cops that we have, it is still something that we do, which I think it's only beneficial. I mean, I think some of it, I think is a little over the top on some of the stuff that they do within the debriefing, but I do think it's good to at least get everybody in there to talk and, hey, how's everybody doing? That was pretty messed up that we all just saw, right? Like, we could all agree that was pretty fucked up.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so it at least it opens the door to starting to talk about it. So that way guys and girls aren't going home with it. And, I mean, heck, when my incident happened, I was fortunate that it happened, right at the beginning of hunting time. So my release has been the outdoors. So, my event happened within 15 days. Opening day got into the woods, started feeling better. And then 9 days later, I get my first deer. So it's weird how things work out in your favor, especially when you see shitty situations. But I 100% agree with debriefings that have been very helpful, especially in departments.
Yep. Nope, I'd agree. 100%.
Yep.
Well, like I said, I don't want to take too much time. We're at 43 minutes currently. We'll go with, obviously you might, depending on, I'd probably go a little older story, make sure there's nothing in the courts. But could you give us one good cop story and then give us one good hunting story? I know you got a lot of cop
funny story, scary story.
Whatever you want. I'm leaving that. Yep.
Dude, there's so many.
Comedy.
I mean, the statute of limitations are up on most of them.
That's what I was thinking.
Everything's out of the court systems.
Yeah.
Back after 2001, the government came up with a bunch of money, so they started these task forces with the U.S. Marshal Service. I was chosen to do that one. This one particular time, there's so many there too. So
that's a whole other podcast.
We followed this guy to Chicago. So our district was from Kankakee, K3, all the way down to Litchfield, and then border to border. So we could be at the Quad Cities at 5 o'clock in the morning and end up getting a homicide guy in Danville, that evening, wherever the cases led us. That's where we would go. And so we were working this case, ended up out of K3 out of Kankakee, went to Chicago, and in between these two flats, and we see this guy, or see a guy, turned out to be the guy's brother. Well, I'm in between these two flats, so you got maybe 3 foot in between the buildings, and I got the guy up against the wall, and I'm patting him down, and I get down by his leg, and he goes, like this. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? He goes, you're going to hit me. I'm like, no, I'm from down south. We don't hit people down there.
Yeah.
And so after that, him and I became bestest friends. And after a couple, packs of cigarettes and some McDonald's, he gave his brother up.
Good.
We actually got the guy. I mean, the guy was wanted for homicide, I won't throw out any names, but that was a pretty funny story. That guy was patting him down, and he thought I was going to hit him. I guess Chicago coppers are different than coppers from south of I-80.
And I'd be willing to bet now, though.
Not
that it would be the opposite.
Changed.
Yeah, not that it would be the opposite, but I'm saying like now I've seen some bad videos of. And when I say bad videos, I mean the cops doing nothing when they should be going hands on.
Oh yeah.
Well, because honestly, with cops, north of I-80, you got Cook County, you got Joliet, you got all the big areas up there, Pleasant Plains. Like you have all those people up there where that's where a lot of your politicians are. It's where a lot of the decisions are made, and they're almost being told, "Hey, don't do anything. Yeah, if you want to keep your pension and your job, just react, don't act." And so I feel bad for them. Honestly, you couldn't pay me enough money to be a cop up there.
No, I wouldn't be. I know some guys up there still, and they're just biding their time.
Yep.
Their hands are tied. They can't. They can't chase nobody.
Nope.
They can't pursue anybody. Somebody takes off running from them. They just run.
Yep. That's crazy to me. Crazy to me. We still chase for now. So.
Yeah, but Cody don't run too well.
Yeah, I hate foot pursuits.
I only lost in 30 years. I lost 1 foot pursuit.
Oh, you're doing better than me already then.
Oh, yeah.
Lost 1 foot pursuit.
I'll just say this. Let's just say Cody got absolutely smoked by someone in a foot pursuit. To be fair, the guy had like a 60-yard head start.
Oh, boy.
But, I mean, he was gone in a flash.
Yeah. We caught him. We caught him a week later, and it was funny. So, I'm searching him and stuff. And I'm telling the guy, like, man, you dusted me last week. And the guy goes, "Oh, that was you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Man, I just saw you and ran." And I'm like, "Oh man, I did have a chance in hell." But it was pretty funny. Him and I were having a good laugh about it. A week later when I was booking him. But yeah, it was funny. All right, so we'll get off the law enforcement. Whatever it could end in success, or if it's just a funny, whatever hunting story you want to tell.
Oh, geez.
I know there's a lot of those too.
There's a ton. I mean, I was on the side of the mountain here 3 weeks ago now, and I did all the right things. My son and I found a bull that had been shot. We found it. It's probably been dead maybe 4 to 5 days. And so I was like, I don't know if we could just take the head now, or nobody else is going to find this, right? So I mean, we marked it on Onyx. And I went back, I got some cell service, and I called the DOW out there. And the officer that hunts that area calls me back. He says, well, you can use one of your tags to take it since it was just a fresh kill. Or I'll go up there and get it, and I'll send it to you at the end of hunting season. He's like, well, let me know if you're going to come up there or not. So a couple of days go by. I knew it was still there. And so I go up to get it the following day. My son and I went up to get it the following day. Somebody found it. Chopped the head off and it was gone. So I texted. Actually, it was really weird. We had some cell service in certain areas up there. So I texted the DOW officer. Like, hey, somebody took that head, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, that's too bad. I'll have to, maybe come up and still investigate the body. I was like, well, there's not much left of the body because the bear's already taken it. So a couple minutes later, I'm standing there next to this dead elk, and I hear a bugle. I was like, oh, I'm just going to get this guy. So I started working that way, and I called in 2 sets of hunters. So my
Yep.
bugling and cow calling is actually getting better.
That's good.
So now there's me, and then 2 sets of hunters come this way, 2 sets of hunters come this way. And so we sat there and shot the shit for about 15, 20 minutes. And one of the 2 sets of one of the guys, the younger kids found the bull. I told them, hey guys, you can't have that bull without having a tag on it, or the DOW guy is gonna, ding you for it. So who knows if they put a tag on it or not? But it was a really nice 5x5.
Yep.
So
That's like I said, I only got limited experience up in Colorado, but I know I got pretty frustrated the last time we went about the amount of hunters we ran into. We had again, we were doing all e-scouting. I had this one spot all figured out where we wanted to go, and it was, as a crow flies, it was 2 miles. But obviously we were going up and down valleys. I remember we get there, and there's a horse camp where they brought in. They got a damn picnic table that got brought in. And I just remember like was defeated, and just everywhere we went ran into hunters, and we actually the only spot we found elk really was actually behind this other guy's hunting camp, only a couple hundred yards. There was fresh elk sign, and that's where we almost shot the cow. But yeah, I was going to ask you though. I've only, out of the 2 years I've been up there, I've only saw one. But did you see a lot of bears when you go up there?
Yes, I'll show you. I'll send you pictures. You can post it on the podcast. Every day, I got 2 bear on camera. Every day between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, this monster black bear showed up on my camera. I didn't see anything live, but I had them on camera. Now, there was one time my son and I were climbing the mountain, and this moose, probably 1,300 pounds, it was a shooter moose. And he sees us and just kind of rambles off. So I started making a cow call for moose. You ever heard those things? My son's like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I'm going to call this moose back. And sure shit, he come right back to us about 30 yards. I got it on video, and
that's cool.
I was going on the backside. And the thing came right back to us.
Yeah, well, where we were at, we saw a lot of moose. We didn't realize we were actually in one of their trophy moose areas. Obviously, it takes you like 20 years to draw if you want it, but
or you want to over the counter tag costs you $2,700.
Oh, that's all. But yeah, we were in a pretty good spot where we were at for moose, and we saw some big bulls, and then we saw some. We had a cow elk. I got video of it, or not cow elk, cow moose with her calf. She was like 40 yards away from us as we were sitting there in that valley, and it was cool. There's no small moose; they're all big.
No, they're all big. Yeah. For sure.
Well, David, I really enjoyed this podcast. We're definitely gonna have you come back on after deer season. Just tell some more hunting and cop stories.
Sure. I got to get out there. I mean, I hunted opening day. I had a small buck and 6 does come underneath me opening day, and then that evening I went back out. I just had deer after deer after. But this was on I got permission on a small private little lot. It's only 11 acres, but there's some good sign, and I know there's some big deer in the area. So hopefully I stick another big one this year. That's my goal.
I've been out 5 days. I've been skunked all 5.
No, man. You saw one.
I saw one. Saw one, kind of.
Yeah. And then
10 yards.
And then I'm pretty picky with my bucks. And I've passed on 3 small bucks this year. He is not picky, and of course,
if it's brown, it's down.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get the first one under your belt.
Yeah. Exactly. He had a spike come within 15 yards of him yesterday, and he texted me, and I was like, "Oh, he's lucky I'm not there. I'll put spike." I don't care.
But David, appreciate you coming on. This podcast will come out be 2 weeks from now is when this podcast
Okay.
will come out. I'm actually ahead of schedule on podcasts for once. Usually it's on week by week basis, so it's nice to be kind of ahead of schedule. But if you want to stay on while in this recording, David, again, appreciate you coming on.
Hey.
We're definitely gonna have to after season come back on again.
Certainly. Appreciate the time, guys.
Yep. Thanks again. All right, there we go, everybody. That was podcast 95 with Dave. Great podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. We already had, as you watch this, vlog 1 should be out. Vlog 2 should be out. Maybe even vlog 3. So make sure you guys are watching the vlogs. I can promise you, and if you guys watch this whole podcast, you saw some deer have been dropping. So not by me, but by other team members, deer have been dropping. So again, check them out, guys, and we appreciate all the support. Be safe out there.
Peace out.